Hey, Get Rich crew. Welcome back to another episode of Get Rich or Get Drunk Trying. Okay, so I've got a video that is blowing up on my TikTok, and I just got this brilliant idea to continue the conversation over here. So let's get into it.
If I had to define the one moment that 10x'd my entire life, it would be moving out of my little random average ass apartment building into a 5-star luxury building. That made me 10x every single thing about myself. I changed my car, I changed my job, I launched my own business. I did everything right after I moved into that building. I think my rent probably doubled, but it put me in a circle of people who were go-getters, who wanted the most out of life, who had launched their own business, who were founders, who were CEOs. And the energy in that building every single day energized me to go after the very best. And it really did manifest in my life. So if you're considering doing one thing for yourself, move into the dream building before you're ready.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that one move really 10x'd my entire life. And that's when I moved out of my random ass apartment into a 5-star luxury building. And we got to talk about it. So I am still in the building that I am talking about in that video. And living here, baby, I wasn't ready at all. I was bartending for $5 an hour. Y'all know this. I've told this story 10 million times. $5 an hour plus tips. And I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I refused to go back to college. I refused to work a corporate job. I just wanted to live good and get paid and, be a full-time entrepreneur, bad bitch. But I had not the foggiest clue how to do that. And I was taking my dog to the dog park in this neighborhood, and I fell in love with the neighborhood. I fell in love with these luxury condo buildings over there, and I began to manifest that I would be one of those people who lived in that building. Like, oh my God, what type of life do you have to be living in this building, in this neighborhood? And fast forward a few months later, my lease was coming up, and I just made the decision to go for it. Yeah, very very risky, right? I made the decision to dive in and commit to living in my dream building, even though my rent doubled, which was pretty insane. But instantly, everything changed for me. Just my mindset, just the joy that I felt waking up with the view I have of the ocean. Being on a high floor in a sky rise, I'm on like the 30th floor versus my old building, I was on the 4th floor of a mid-rise. Just the energy, the air, the people, seeing them in their, designer gear and seeing them in their luxurious cars every single day and having conversations with my neighbors, and everybody was a business owner. Everybody was a lawyer. Everybody was an attorney. Everybody was like a CEO and a founder. The energy that poured over my life, it changed me instantly. Day one, I was a totally different person. Like, I moved into my building on Tuesday. I bought a new car on Thursday. Like, that's how quick it was. And that may seem like a really small, trivial thing, but baby, y'all was not about to park my Ford Fusion up in here. Like, that's not going to work for me. I bought my Maserati 2 days later. So those, and it's something that I had been wanting for years, but being in this building pushed me to do it. It really like accelerated everything about my life. I continued bartending for quite some time, but my mindset was different. I was starting to take in more business books. I was starting to see myself and start speaking to myself like an entrepreneur. It really like snatched down all of these mental blocks and barriers that I had for myself, because now suddenly these people were no different than me. Like literally no different from me, because we get our mail from the same place and we go to the same gym and we go to the same pool and we live in the same building. We literally have the same address. So if they're 7-figure CEOs, I'm on my way to be a 7-figure CEO, period. And a few years later, I became a 7-figure CEO. So Anyway, this is not financial advice now because you know your girl is not qualified for that. But if you are a person like me who could use an energy shift, this is me telling you to do it. I did it. It was risky. It was scary, but life is about taking risks, okay? Life is entirely too short to be playing it safe forever. I don't have kids, so worst case scenario, I could always leave and go back, to a regular, schmegular apartment. I never did. I never will. When I leave this place, I'll be moving into the penthouse. So, it was worth it for me. And I just didn't want to be sharing all that game only on TikTok and not bringing it here for y'all. So that's it for now. And I'm thinking, like, should I do this as a segment every week? Because I have so much to tell y'all on Instagram and TikTok that I just never get around to telling you. So if you got a dope name for what I should call this quick little segment, and I'm going to do it every week, let me know in the comments if you want me to do it every week. And what should I call it? Okay, that's it for that. Now I've got a massively exciting interview coming up for you. My girl, Rebelle Nutrition, she is brilliant. She went from a $5 an hour server, just like me, living in a tiki hut, to making $400,000 a month from her house. Okay, passive income princess. All right, let's get directly into the interview. All right, Get Rich Crew, get excited because we are about to make a ton of money today. I want to welcome the one, the only Rebelle Nutrition to the show. She is the founder of Online Course Academy. She is a housewife super fan. She is a luxury spa enthusiast and a very, very rich bitch. And we love that. Welcome, Amie.
Oh my God, thank you. That might be my favorite intro that I've ever heard.
So I want to know, I know so much about you. I am obsessed with your content. I'm so thrilled you're with me. It's taken us like a year.
Yeah, and that's been totally on me, honestly. Well, it has to do with the fact that I hate having anything on my schedule because I'm that much of a rebel that as soon as I get anything on my schedule, I'm immediately like, ooh, my creativity is gone. I don't know what to do. And that's why I had to start my own business.
Hello. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. We were talking about being fired. And I was like, oh, I've been fired more times than I can remember. And they were shocked. And I said, I really think I'm just not meant to work for anybody else because clearly I can't follow the damn rules.
No, I mean, I get it. I can't say I've ever been fired, but every other job I've ever had, I was finding ways. When my last job before starting this business, I was a cocktail server, and I would go to the bathroom and be on my phone, posting to Instagram, and trying to figure out any way to make it work, even while I was at that other job. So
yes. Trying to get the hell up out of there. And it has worked. Let's start at the beginning. How does one go from restaurant server, and I was a restaurant server, so I was making $5 an hour. $5 an hour plus tips, living in a tiki hut. Literally, y'all. Literally, Get Rich Crew. I'm not making this up. Living in a tiki hut to entrepreneur, life changer, $400,000 a month from home, passive income haver. How does one go from A to B?
Well, I mean, it was definitely a journey, but yeah, I think a lot of people, when I say I lived in a hut, they think it's kind of a funny story, but not actually true. It's go to my Instagram. I've got photos of it. It was literally 120-ish square feet hut in the jungle. And the reason, it was very well thought out, why I did that when I was starting my business. And that's because when I had the idea to start an online business and create an online course, I really had no money to outsource. I didn't have any money for ads. I didn't have any money for softwares or help or anything like that. So my thinking was, okay, how can I bring my living expenses down so much to the point where, my serving job can be making enough money that I can start, making my online course and making money that way so that I can quit my serving job. My purpose was I need to bring down my living expenses. And that prompted me to move into a tiny hut, which was very inexpensive. I think our rent was $500 a month or something to live there. And so I was able to live really minimally, save up money while I was working a serving job as I created my first online course. And then that allowed me to, once I launched that course, I didn't make a ton of money from that first online course launch. I think it was a couple $1,000s, but at that point, my living expenses were so low that that allowed me to quit my serving job and pursue online courses full time. So it was really totally worth it. I lived in that hut for almost 2 years, and it was one of the best things that I ever did, honestly.
Wow. I didn't know it was 2 years.
Yeah, it was a long time. I mean, like, do I want to do it again? Absolutely not. But at the time, it really got me to where I wanted to be, where I had that financial freedom to pursue my courses full time. And then those, over time, like quickly scaled. And then, I got to where I am today, which is a very different situation.
I was just going to say, about how many square feet is your home now?
Oh gosh, it's maybe, I think 4,000.
From 120 square feet to 4,000 in beautiful LA. And y'all know LA is not cheap. So our friend has spent a coin. That home is gorgeous. If that does not motivate you guys, like, I don't know what will. And what I really love about that is it was a conscious decision. You took a step back and you really bet on yourself and decided, like, it's do or die. And the best way for me to do that is to cut my expenses so I can really dive into entrepreneurship and be ready to get the hell up out of working for somebody else faster than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people, what I really had to come to terms with was like letting go of my ego about moving into a hut like that, and my family and friends that knew me knowing that, because when you do something like that, everybody you know is kind of like, oh my God, like, are they struggling? Like, what's happening with them? And I just had to put that aside and be like, you know what? I don't give a fuck if people judge me for doing this. This is my life. And I'm going to take this small step to eventually get me to, what I'm doing right now, living here in this beautiful house, like, this was always my goal, and I always knew I could get there. I just had to take a few steps back first to go forward.
I love it. You heard it here first, friends. We are not listening to what other people have to say, because now all of those people who were talking shit, they literally want to work for you. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or at least are asking me, like, oh my gosh, now, like, can you help me, or how did you do it? And back then they probably were like, what is she doing?
Exactly. The judgment was real. Okay, so we have to talk about the thing that has made you the rich bitch of LA, and that is course creation. But first, I really want to talk about the money, because you and I are in alignment on this, and nobody can make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a month without overcoming some serious money blocks. What were the money blocks? Was anything standing in your way before you got to the level of success that you're at now?
Yeah, I mean, a lot. I definitely, and I think this played into my whole minimalism journey a little bit too, is that just growing up, I always had a really scarcity mindset around money. Like, I was always looking for the lowest price option for everything, or like, I would never buy something that wasn't on sale. I was just very, very careful with everything that I spent. And I really had to learn how to get comfortable spending money, which is kind of crazy. It seems so counterintuitive, but the more that I got comfortable spending money, and especially investing in things that were going to either make me feel really good or make my business go to the next level, then the more money I would make. And I started doing it very slowly because, like I said, I didn't have a lot of money to start with. But even something as small as like paying for an upgraded software and not just trying to use the free version.
The free version.
Yeah, with the watermark. Like, no, you need to like upgrade, pay the $5, $10 to get the upgraded version to make your content all better.
How insane does that feel now? Like, knowing the business that you have now, how nuts is it that you didn't want to pay the $199 for the, oh my God, that is me, been there.
100%. Or even spending, $15 an hour to outsource like to a VA that could help me with something. I was like, oh my God, why would I pay somebody else to do that when I can do it myself? And I kind of got to this point, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs get to, which is like, you're working yourself into the ground and you're not really scaling because you only have so many hours in the day. And your time as the entrepreneur is a lot more valuable than, editing a video. Like, anybody could do that. Your time needs to be spent doing the things that only you can do. So I really had to get a lot more comfortable spending money even more and more. I mean, even now, like, obviously what I'm spending on now is like totally different, but even sometimes I have a little hint of like ooh, should I spend that much? And then I usually like work through it mentally, like, is this going to make you feel better? Is this going to make your content better? Is this going to make you more efficient? And if it checks any of those boxes, then I'm like, okay, I have to do it. And I always make back the money, like at least a couple times over. So it's
yes. Energy. I have adapted that mindset as well, especially when it comes to travel. And I've learned this a lot from you. I make more money when I'm traveling than I make home in Miami. So I don't know if it's the fresh environment or the content is just extra fire when I'm in Italy, but I always make more money. And you've talked about that a lot on your Instagram.
Yeah, I think it's so fascinating. And yeah, same with me. Like when I'm traveling, I think it's such a combination of everything. I think I love traveling so much. So when I'm traveling, when I'm in a new place, my creativity is there, my energy is there. The crazy thing is I'm always working less than I am when I'm at home. I'm always working less, but I'm making more money. And it's like, I don't know how many times I need that reminder to me to tell me like, no, it actually can be easier. And you can actually, the more fun that you have, the more money you make, the more you live your best life. Actually, people are attracted to that energy and are more likely to work with you. So I love that you've seen that too.
Yes, honey, I learned from the best. I'm thinking, what would Amie do? She would go to Croatia for 3 weeks. So, hey, I'll book the flight. It's time to roll. Okay, so we got to talk about online courses, some of the misconceptions about online courses. People feel like, well, let me rephrase. I think the best thing about online courses as an entrepreneur is the ability to reclaim my time. I'm not doing one-on-ones with people. For what? When I can put all that information in a course. What are some of the benefits you say there are to creating online courses?
Well, I think the number one benefit is like they really are such a low barrier to entry for anybody who wants to start monetizing. Like I said, I had less than a couple $100s to invest in a business. And, the traditional business model is like, you need a lot of capital or you need a team or you need like all of these products or something to start making a profit. And with online courses, I took about $100 and created an online course that then I sold and profited thousands from that first one. And so I think it's such a like low barrier to entry. Everybody has something valuable that they can teach that other people want to know or want to learn about that they will pay you for. So just figuring out what that is, I think that's a huge benefit. I mean, not only like you said too, the ability to reach and help hundreds, if not thousands of people at once without trading your time for dollars is insane. I mean, that's really the key to passive income. The key to scaling is being able to leverage your time and your energy. I mean, this is the way that like, I say this all the time on Instagram and I think it like, I feel like I have to keep saying it because I want people to know that like, every time it's so crazy. Every time I like go to the spa or go get a massage, I'll like pull out my phone after and I'll see that I got a sale. And it's like, is that not the dream? Like everybody, it's such kind of trendy marketing lingo, like make sales while you sleep. But I'm like, no, literally, this is what an online course business or a passive income business can give you. And it's the best thing ever.
It's the dream. You're so right. And people just don't think that it's real. And that's our job, to get on the internet every single day and tell them you can just work smarter instead of harder. You do not have to go get a 4-year, degree and be up to your eyeballs in debt or open this brick and mortar store. You can just get busy on the internet, taking the knowledge out of your head, putting it online and learning how to sell it. And that's what Amie did. That's what I do. I'm a course creator as well. So it is tangible, my friends. I think that's the perfect time for a cocktail. I want to know because you're a healthy girl, you're a Pilates girl. Like, what do the healthy baddies from California, like living in LA, what do they sip on when they're having a crazy killer week? What is the get drunk cocktail of the week?
I love this question. And yes, I am a healthy Pilates girl, but I also love a cocktail. So this is my like go-to drink anytime I'm out. I love tequila. So I always ask for, and this is a version of a margarita, but you really have to be specific because if you're like me, I don't like sweet anything in my drink. And the bartenders always want to put some sort of sugar in it. So you have to kind of micromanage them. But you want to ask for reposado tequila, fresh lime juice. So make sure they're like actually squeezing the lime. Okay, it's very specific. Add a jalapeno in there, have them shake it over ice with a tahini rim.
So you love a skinny, spicy tahine rim cocktail, and that's what you use to celebrate and turn up on a good night out. I love that. I think it's smart. I think it's sexy. And the tahine fits your personality.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I'm a little bit like spicy.
You
So it's
definitely are.
perfect.
You definitely are unique and spicy. I love that. Okay, let's get back to the money. Let's get back to course creation and really abundance. I want to talk about abundance because you live in abundance. Like the G Wagon is gorgeous. The Birkin sits pretty in the G Wagon. It's 5-star all the way. What are you doing to maintain that abundance mindset and not let that scarcity creep back in?
Such a good question, because I think it's such a, I'm sure you've heard that saying, like, new level, new devil. Like, the more money I make, then there is still like a little part of me of like, ooh, but what if you lost it all, you know? So you really have to constantly be checking in with like the thoughts that you're having and replace them with something better, something more expansive. So I think for me, what I always go back to, and it's so simple, is just being grateful, having gratitude. And I know that's like everybody says that and it's so overdone, but really,
it's true.
But it's true. And in every moment, and I think literally this is why I had success even when I was living in a hut, is because even back then, I didn't have really any physical possessions. And I would think to myself, wow, I'm so grateful that like I have the ability to work on my business in the mornings before I go to my serving job. Or I lived by the beach. So I was like, you know what? At least if I'm working a job that I hate, at least I can go down to the beach in the morning. You know, like finding something that you are really grateful for. And even now, just always, there's always going to be something else. We're always working and striving towards something else, and life happens and there's always things going on. But if you can find anything like to focus on of what you do have and how much more you do have than, you know, how much more fortunate you are than so many others, it's like that really propels me and makes me focus on those things rather than the lack. And I feel like it really results in more abundance.
I love it. Abundance, multiplying and multiplying. That's why this is get rich or get drunk trying, not get by or just barely make it, baby. We want it all. And I tell this to my students all the time. The money's already printed. We just have to go get it. These people are printing money every day. The United States is in trillions of dollars worth of debt, and they're having the time of their lives. They're not thinking about lack. The money is there. We just have to go get it. And that's coming from two servers who made $5 an hour. So if we can do it, you guys can do it too. Okay, so let's talk course creation. You've helped so many people launch successful online courses. What are some of the common mistakes that you see people make when creating and launching their courses, and how can they avoid them?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. So, I mean, I would say the number one, if somebody comes to me and they're like, you know, my course isn't selling or I'm having trouble selling it, the number one mistake that I see people make is just not talking about it enough. Like if you are in the middle of a launch or you just created a course and I go to your Instagram page and your last post isn't saying anything about your course, or your stories aren't talking about it, or there's not a link in your bio for it. Like, people are not going to know that you're selling anything unless you continue to show up every single day and bring it into, you know, your talking points or your content. So I would definitely say, like, making sure that people really know what you do. You need to come up or create content every single day that's bringing it into the conversation somehow. My sales, like, I used to have multiple online courses that I sold in different topics. And I'm telling you, when I like became laser focused on my one online course academy and I started talking about that course every single day, even if it was just in like a Q&A format, I would bring it into the conversation somehow. My sales have skyrocketed since then. And I think it's really because people know what I'm about. Like, they always know, oh, she's the online course creator person. If I want to learn how to create a course, maybe they're not ready right now, but they'll know I'm talking about that every single day. Like, it's hard to miss you. I'm the person you're going to come to if you want to learn how to create a course, you know? And so I think that can apply to really any industry, whatever your niche is talk about the thing you're selling every single day.
All the time. Yes, no days off. And I like to tell people, Coke is the biggest company on the planet, and there's a Coca-Cola commercial running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Amazon, biggest company on the planet, they're still advertising. There will never be a time where your business doesn't need to be talked about, doesn't need to be advertised, doesn't need to be marketed. Especially on social media, you get a new follower every day. That new follower doesn't have the foggiest clue that you launched a course. So how is anybody going to buy the thing that you don't even ever talk about it? And then if you're not talking about it, are you really as excited about it as the customer should be?
100%. Yeah. I mean, people are going to like follow your lead in terms of your energy. So if you're really not excited, if you're not unapologetically showing up and talking about the thing that you sell and how amazing it is, like people are not going to think that either. So you have to lead by example.
Love that. Sounds like a good money tip right there. We're going to dive back into this episode in just a second. But first, I have to invite you to a very special event. I've talked about my success story as a dropshipper so many times on this podcast, and I'm ready to share more of the game with you. So I'm hosting a free e-commerce masterclass teaching you how to launch and grow an online business without ever buying inventory. And yes, you are invited to attend. Visit freedropshippingtraining.com to register to attend. I cannot wait to see you there. Now, let's get back to the show. Okay, so how do people find the perfect topic for their course? Or like, how do they know that their course topic will resonate with other people?
Yeah, so I think this is a question I get a lot too, especially people that don't have an audience. They're kind of like, oh, well, I don't have an audience, so should I build an audience first and then create my course? Or which one should you do first? And I actually think there is a benefit if you don't really have an audience yet to figure out what your course topic is first. And I'll explain like some tips on how to do that in just a second, but kind of figure out what that niche or what your course topic is going to be first, because it really provides a lot of guidance for then what you can create social media content around. And then you're able to have this really streamlined focus about the niche, the person that you're trying to reach, the type of content that they want. And it can kind of guide your content strategy to build the audience to then sell the course to. Does that make sense?
Yes,
okay.
100%.
Okay, cool. So I really love that. And I think it's inspiring for people who are starting from zero. It's like, so think about your course topic first. So I always say everybody has something valuable to teach. Everybody has something valuable. If you've lived up till whatever age you are, you've been through some sort of challenge in your life, you've overcome something, you've maybe had traditional credentials. Maybe you did go to school and realize it wasn't for you. Maybe you've been through a health challenge. Maybe you had financial problems. Maybe you got divorced. Like everybody has been through some sort of life challenge and most likely figured out the hard way how to get through it or how to achieve a certain outcome. So if you can start to think about that, I think that's like number one. Think about some sort of challenge or hardship that you've been through and overcome in your life and how you got from point A to point B. And then you can lead somebody else through that who's going through the same thing.
And she's telling the truth, friends. She's telling the truth. Like I've created multiple courses and you are 100% right. And I think what really moved the needle for me was something that you said on one of your webinars where you were talking about you don't have to take somebody from point A to point Z. It's perfectly cool, amazing, and fantastic to take someone from point A to maybe point B or C or D. You don't have to conquer the entire world in one course. It's okay to have a specific specialty.
Yeah. No, I love that. I mean, to give you a perfect example of that is like after I had created a couple nutrition courses and all anybody wanted to ask me about was how to create a course. When I first created Online Course Academy, I was by no means an online course expert. There were tons of other people who were way more advanced and like well known than I was. But I was like, you know what? I can still help people just because I'm not the world's leading expert on online courses. I can still help somebody create an online course that's profitable because I've done it and I have my own experience and I have my own method of doing things. So just know that like, you don't have to be perfect or, actually considered a world expert on a topic to be able to help people.
Yep. Boom. I think that's the perfect time for our get rich tip of the week. What should we be doing to 10x our finances? This could be a business tip. This could be a life tip. What are your thoughts, babe?
Well, I had so many things that because I love talking about money too. So I'm like, there's
Yes.
so many ways that I could take this. But I would say the one thing that has been the most beneficial for me, and I hope is helpful for other people, is kind of more of a mindset tip. So I say, I want people to start paying attention to what your thoughts are around money, specifically when you see somebody else who is rich. So, like, if you see somebody else in a G Wagon getting out, like, what are the thoughts that you have in your mind? Are you thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I could never drive a car like that, or oh, they must be a horrible person, or it was easy for them because they had X, Y, and Z. Like, sometimes these thoughts are really, really subtle, but if you can start to pay attention to the thoughts that you have around like somebody else's wealth, it has everything to do with you and nothing to do with them. So it's really good information about what is actually in your subconscious mind right now. Because if you do have those thoughts about, well, they must be a horrible person, or, I could never do that, it's crazy that they're doing that, that's only blocking you. It's only hurting you. But if you are aware of them, you can change them. So that'd be my tip.
I may have to say this. That might be the best get rich tip anybody's ever given on the show.
Oh my
Seriously,
God.
because nobody ever talks about that. If you hate on rich or successful people, how do you expect to ever be like them? How do you ever expect to have the fruits of your labor when you only have negative, hateful comments to say about the people that you see as successful? It doesn't make sense. You're literally repelling that energy from you. Even though you may say that's the thing that you want the most, you're proving to the universe you don't want it because you have a disdain for successful people or rich people. Like, when I see my dream car go past, God bless that person. Can't wait to have mine. That's it. It doesn't have to be some jealous negative thing.
No, 100%. It's so funny too, because I remember I used to think, like, when I would see women that had Birkin bags, which is something I was like manifesting for a long time, I would literally like,
And she
especially I'd be
got,
like, well,
wait, and she got, by the way, for Christmas, and it's gorgeous, by the way. But
well,
okay,
thank
carry
you.
on.
No, but I remember like I would see somebody with one and my thought was like, oh my God, good for her. Like, what a badass. Like, that is so exciting for her. I would feel the feelings of excitement. And this is such a superficial thing. Like, you could do this for anything, whether you're into, whatever it is. But I would just get so excited for them and I'd be like, wow, how cool. Like, I'm feeling the excitement for her. And I really feel like evoking those positive feelings rather than feeling negative or like judgmental towards somebody for what they have, it really can completely change your life.
Absolutely. And the proof is in the big giant ass orange box, because I was
Yes.
living through your Birkin for Christmas. I was so proud of you. I was so excited for you. I couldn't wait to see what outfits you put together. And that is how we manifest the things that we want in our lives, by being happy and joyous for other people. And that's the abundance mindset. Just because Amie's making a shit ton of money, that makes me feel like I can do it too. She's showing me that it's real, it's tangible. We're in the same industry, so I feel those vibes and it helps me get closer. Guys, get rich crew. That's what I want to impart to you. Damn, that's a good get rich tip. I'm overwhelmed. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, wait, before I get too distracted, I want to also talk about this like misconception that people have around courses. They think you have to be a technical genius. They think it takes thousands and thousands of dollars. They think that they have to be live launching. I know that's a lot, but can you please speak to those misconceptions? Because once you put me on to an automated webinar, it literally changed my life. Literally, like night and day changed my life. Can you just talk to some of those misconceptions?
Yes. Well, I'm so glad that was as life changing for you as it was for me, because I think that's the thing. People think like, oh, you create a course, but then if you're not live launching it, how are you going to get people to buy it? And I'm like, look, you can create, spend 1 to 3 months is usually the average I give people to create the course. And then once it's done, you can create a passive system, which, like you said, an evergreen webinar, which passively sells your online course any day of night. So how I mentioned before, I'm making sales during my spa treatments. That's how I automate a webinar. And it's tons of free value. So whether somebody buys at the end of it or not, they're still getting something valuable for them. But I'm also capturing their email to get them on the webinar. And then I'm following up with them after the webinar, like, here's a link to buy, giving them a deadline. All of those things can really help make passive sales. What were the other misconceptions?
The
You said,
technical aspect. People think that you need to be this technical whiz kid. And I'm like, I know nothing. I can barely work a Zoom call. And I was able to build an entire course.
No, honestly, I think it's hard to portray this because people probably look at what I've built and they're like, oh, she must be really techie. I'm telling you, to this day, I still barely know how to use my iPhone. I'm not kidding. Like, anything tech related, I'm just not a tech savvy person. Yeah.
Don't have the foggiest clue. No idea. Yeah, same.
So I'm telling you, like, if you are able to follow instructions, which I think everybody can, you can learn how to create an online course. It's very, like, it's really not something that you need to be a tech genius to know how to do. I think if you know how to use Instagram, you are tech savvy enough to create a course.
Yep, you're 90% there. And I just want to talk about my personal love for course creation. It's in alignment with the same reason I'm a drop shipper, and that is profit margin. Like, I have no desire to be in some business that makes $1 million and I take home 200,000. It's not going to work for me. No, thank you. God bless you guys. What I care about is how much money I keep. What would you say that your profit margin is within your business?
Honestly, it's so funny because I think when I started my business, I really knew nothing about business at all. So like, even back then, I was like, what's a profit margin? All I was thinking is like, how can I take home the most money? So of course, I was not looking at doing ads. I was not looking at paying anybody. And so even now when I share my income reports, I get occasionally some haters that are like, okay, you're saying
but
that
how much of it is income?
Yeah, you said you made 400,000 this month, but how much are you actually profiting? I'm like, that didn't even cross my mind because honestly, 99% of it is profit.
Bingo. Like, that's what I wanted to get to, folks. 99% of the money that you make in online course creation is profit. And the reason being, especially for Amie, is because you don't run ads. You are building this entire brand via social media.
Yeah, and I think that also, I hope, is inspiring to people that don't have the budget for ads to start with. There's this amazing thing called social media that is free for us. So it's free marketing. If you're willing to create content that is free, that's valuable, you don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to do dances if you don't want to, but you can just lead with value, teaching a small tidbit of, what your course is eventually going to sell. That can reach an unlimited amount of people for free, which then like brings them into your audience and then you can sell your course too. So yeah, I think, and to this day, I still don't use ads. I have dabbled in it previously because like maybe 2 years ago, I dabbled in it because I was kind of like, I'm making, I think at that point I was making anywhere from like 50 to 100K a month. And I was like, okay, what if I could scale this with ads? And it's not that I'm against ads, but I just found that what I could do with my own organic social media content was so much more powerful, reached so many more people, and was so much more profitable. So I was kind of like, well, why would I spend like half my profit a month on ads when I could just, create free content and keep more of the profit?
Oh, put that in the Bible. Somebody write that in the Bible because these are the facts. And I just want to reiterate, Get Rich Crew. This is a $200,000-$400,000 a month business created from her home without her having to go get, a master's degree in astrophysicist genius science that helps other people that she can run from Italy, from Croatia. The girl is always traveling, and this is attainable for you guys. It doesn't make her an ads genius. She just told you she's not even running ads. This is the power of having a valuable course and having social media and showing up every single day, unapologetically bold to sell, to market, and to run your business. I mean, it's just so good. It's so good. I'm always so thrilled for you. And I just want to say too, Amie is crushing it with one product. You guys don't need 47 things. She just perfected her one thing and made it so good that where else would you go to learn a course other than Online Course Academy. Like, it's insane. And guys, yes, I will be linking OCA for you, of course, in the show notes. I'm going to teach you how to get involved with Amie, because I know you're thinking about what your course is going to be. Oh man, it's so good. Social media, people just don't tap in. It makes me so sad for them. There's so much money they're leaving on the table.
I know. Well, I think that's the thing too. Like, as an entrepreneur, like you and I obviously both have this, but I think having that unlimited mindset, now I'm like, I think about, God, like what a time to be alive. Like, we have these free ways that we can make money online, like social media, or just having access to the internet that like years and years ago, like wasn't even a possibility. And like you can travel, and there are so many different ways, like drop shipping, online courses. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can kind of figure out what fits your lifestyle and your dream life the best and go for it, which is just
and
amazing.
there are no excuses, guys. There are no limitations and no excuses. I love that. Okay, I want to talk about the Get Rich Read of the week. What are you reading? What is stimulating the mind? What's the best business book you've read? Give me something.
So I'm gotta be totally honest. I am not a big reader. I just am not.
And I was like, you're all right. You'll survive.
I was like, you know what? Obviously there are books that I have read that have been good, and I could give one of those, but you know what I'm really feeling right now. So this is a little bit, not quite a read, but I think people could still find this valuable, especially if you're not somebody who enjoys reading. I downloaded this app called Superhuman, and it has a bunch of guided meditations. So what I do is first thing in the morning when I wake up, and first thing or last thing before I go to bed, so like really priming my subconscious mind, is I will go onto the Superhuman app and find some sort of guided meditation. So they're like 5 to 10 minutes, and they can just guide you through like visualizing your next level self, visualizing like getting into the feeling of gratitude or abundance, like whatever you're in the mood for. There's a bunch of different options. And I am telling you, not only has it really helped just change my mindset like during the day of just feeling more positive, but also I feel like it's like worked magic on my abundance mindset as well. And I think it's because I can't remember exactly. Is it like your theta brainwave state or something, right?
No
when
clue.
You wake up in the morning. Oh, something like that. I'm sure you will know what I'm talking about. But like right when you wake up in the morning and right before you go to bed, your brain or your subconscious mind is more able to be primed for whatever you're trying to achieve in your life. So whether that's be more grateful or make more money or be more successful, it'll help you like implant those ideas into your mind basically before you go to sleep. And it's really, really powerful. So highly recommend.
Love it. All right. I will link to it in the show notes. I'm always open to new ideas. I am a firm believer in the subconscious mind. It's so much more powerful than we give it credit for. So, all right, y'all, we are going to check out Superhuman really, really soon and spin the block and let you know how it goes, because whatever Amie's doing, I'm trying to do. That's really what it is. I'm trying to just copy and paste, because she is the blueprint when it comes to this passive income game. Okay. One last question before I get you out of here. Sadly, I have to let you go. We know that you've been able to travel the world while running your business, and social media has helped you do that. But I have a question for you. How would your life be different if you never got brave enough to launch social media? If you stayed behind the camera, if you decided, you were too cool to do it, or if you tried any other way to launch your business, where do you think that it would be? And what would you say to those people who are just too scared to turn that camera towards them and hop on Instagram?
Oh, I think about this a lot, because I remember so vividly that feeling of being like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared to show up on social media. What are people in real life going to think about what I'm doing? But the fear of never doing it was so much worse for me than what anybody thought about it. So I always knew like, I am going to regret it if I never try. And that was scarier to me than actually doing it. So if you can if somebody's feeling that same way, like if you can think about it that way, are you going to be more upset and more regretful in 20, 30 years that you never tried? Or are you willing to risk it? So I think going that way, and then, what would my life be like if I hadn't ever done it? Oh my God. I mean, honestly, I think I would hopefully I wouldn't be living in the hut anymore, but you never know. Like, I would probably be working a serving job still. I don't know. It's like actually terrifying to think
What
about.
a nightmare, right? What a nightmare. What would I have done if I didn't do social media? God, like,
Well, and then if you could have told me too, like, oh, if you would have just gotten over that little fear of putting yourself on camera, you could actually be living in LA in your dream home, traveling whenever you want, and making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. I would have been like, oh my God, sign me up. That's worth it. Like,
right.
I don't care if people are gonna think I'm weird for showing my face on social media. Like, it's worth it.
It's worth it. I think that's a great place to end it on. It is worth it, friends. We've done it, literally coming from serving cocktails to course creators and business owners living our dream lives. LA and Miami. I'm waiting on Amie to come visit me in Miami. She says hopefully soon. And
I think we should do it.
I think we should do it. It's a business write-off. Like, we just need
I've
to
never
go
been to
create
Miami
content.
either, and I feel like it's a vibe. So I want to come.
Wait,
I want to come
you've never
visit.
been? Okay, we need to talk about this off the show. Because how have you
Okay,
never
okay.
been to Miami? You've been to every corner of Greece, but you haven't been to Miami.
I know something's wrong.
I'm offended. We're going to rectify this right now. Okay, so drop for the people how they can find you. I'm going to put everything in the show notes, but let us know how we can stay in touch with Rebelle Nutrition.
Yes, so I'm at Rebelle Nutrition. It's REBELLE Nutrition. Pretty much everywhere. Instagram is where I am like every single day. So come hang out with me over there. I've got a bunch of links in my bio for my free webinar. It'll help you create or help you choose a profitable course topic. And then you'll also learn more about OCA at the end. But you can also send me a DM. I'm also on TikTok at Rebelle Nutrition, YouTube at Rebelle Nutrition, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Connect with you guys.
Love it. Thank you so much, Amie. You are a rock star.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, Get Rich Crew, we are out of here. Peace. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you've learned something amazing, let's continue the conversation. Follow me on Instagram at Get Rich or Get Drunk Trying and tell me what you took from today's show. Then tap in at GetRichOrGetDrunkTrying.com to get all the details and links from today's episode. I cannot wait to get rich with you next time. Until then, peace.